Big shout out to Lit RPG Reads and Paul Bello.
Yeah.
For sending over this amazing article, Bringing Twin Peaks to Your D&D Campaign, a guide to surreal fantasy mystery. It really got me thinking about those tabletop RPG sessions where things get truly weird.
Yeah.
You know, like that time my players stumbled into a hidden chamber.
Oh, yeah.
Expecting treasure and found a gelatinous cube playing chess against a skeleton wearing a tiny crown.
What?
Turns out it was a gateway to another dimension, and the skeleton was a deposed king trying to win back his throne.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny how this article, taps into that same feeling of the unexpected.
Right.
The sense that reality itself is a bit off-kilter.
Yeah.
It shows you how to take that signature Twin Peaks atmosphere and translate it into a D&D campaign,
Right.
making even seasoned adventurers question what's real and what's not.
It's like in a typical D&D game, magic can explain almost anything.
Right.
But in a Twin Peaks setting, magic just makes things weirder. So how do we pull that off? How do we make magic a source of mystery instead of an easy answer?
Well, the article suggests a really intriguing approach, using magic to complicate the mystery rather than solve it.
Okay.
Imagine your players cast Detect Magic, expecting a straightforward answer, but instead they get a cryptic vision, a flash of unsettling imagery that raises more questions than it answers.
Oh, man. That's brilliant. Suddenly, even a simple cantrip becomes a gamble.
Yeah.
You never know what kind of weirdness you might unleash.
Yeah.
My players would be freaking out.
Yeah.
But let's get practical here.
Okay.
If I want to create my own Twin Peaks, where do I even begin?
Well, the article lays out some really solid guidelines.
Okay.
First, consider the location.
Okay.
You want a town on the edge of civilization, a place where the wilderness feels like a character in itself. Think mist-shrouded mountains, ancient forests, that kind of vibe.
Okay.
Isolation is key, not just geographically, but also in terms of time and culture.
So it's not just remote. It's like it's out of sync with the rest of the world.
Exactly.
I'm picturing a town with cobblestone streets and gas lamps, but also maybe some futuristic tech smuggled in from a nearby gnome metropolis. A clash of aesthetics that makes you feel like you've stepped into a dream.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of atmosphere.
Okay.
Think unusual fogs that roll in without warning, unexplained lights in the sky.
Yeah.
Maybe even storms that seem to react to the player's actions.
Oh,
Make the weather unpredictable, almost sentient.
So basically, if the weather forecast calls for a chance of existential dread, we're on the right track.
You got it.
But what about the residents?
Yeah.
Who populates this wonderfully weird town?
This is where things get really fun.
Okay.
The article stresses the importance of layered NPCs.
Okay.
They might seem ordinary on the surface, a baker, a blacksmith, a librarian, but underneath everyone has secrets, and those secrets are often tied to the supernatural forces at play.
Okay, give me an example. How do I make my friendly neighborhood tavern keeper into someone who gives you the chills?
Imagine the tavern keeper is secretly guarding an ancient bloodline. Or maybe they're bound by a pact with a fey creature who grants them good fortune in exchange for, let's say, the occasional memory of a traveler. Or how about the seemingly harmless old woman who collects herbs? She might actually be a powerful hedge witch communing with the spirits of the forest.
Whoa. My players would never trust a seemingly innocent NPC again.
Right.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all comes together.
What?
But how do I actually craft mysteries that fit this vibe?
Yeah.
I mean, a stolen pie isn't exactly going to evoke the same terror as, say, the Black Lodge.
Right. That's where the article's three-layered approach to mysteries comes in.
Okay.
It's a brilliant way to take a seemingly mundane problem and twist it into something truly unsettling.
All right, break it down for me.
Okay.
What are these layers?
First, you have the mundane layer.
Okay.
This is the initial problem that hooks the players. A missing person, a strange illness, a series of unsettling dreams. Okay.
It seems like something they could solve with a bit of investigation and maybe a few well-placed spells.
Right, a classic D&D hook.
Yeah,
But there's more to it, isn't there?
exactly. As they dig deeper, they uncover the conspiratorial layer.
Okay.
Hidden relationships, secret societies, perhaps even a corrupt official pulling strings from the shadows. Suddenly, it's not just a random event, it's part of a larger scheme.
Ooh, intrigue. My players love a good conspiracy.
Yeah.
But where does the supernatural element come in?
That's the third layer, the supernatural layer.
Okay.
This is where things get truly Twin Peaks.
All right.
Those conspiracies, those seemingly mundane problems are all connected to something otherworldly, something ancient and powerful that operates on a logic beyond human comprehension.
Okay.
Maybe that missing person was taken by a creature from the Feywild, or the illness is a symptom of a curse woven into the very fabric of the town.
Okay, that is seriously creepy.
Yeah.
So it's like those Russian nesting dolls, but instead of cute little figures, it's pure nightmare fuel.
But can you give me a concrete example?
Sure.
How would this play out at the table?
Imagine this. The players arrive in town just as a local merchant's prized horses vanish without a trace.
Okay.
Seems like a simple case of theft, right?
Classic D&D problem.
Exactly.
But where's the twist?
As they investigate, they uncover evidence that the thieves weren't ordinary bandits.
Okay.
They left behind strange symbols, whispered in unfamiliar language, and moved with an eerie grace that suggests something more than human.
Ooh, now we're talking. So it's not just about who stole the horses, it's about what they are and why they did it.
Exactly. And then comes the final layer.
Okay.
The players discover that the thieves are actually servants of an ancient entity that slumbers beneath the town, and the horses were a ritual sacrifice intended to hasten its awakening.
Whoa. Talk about raising the stakes. Suddenly we're not dealing with a simple robbery. We're dealing with a cosmic horror apocalypse in the making. This is brilliant. But how do I actually run a game like this? How do I keep the mystery simmering without frustrating my players?
That's where pacing becomes crucial.
Okay.
You have to think like a master chef, carefully revealing flavors layer by layer until the full complexity of the dish hits the palate.
Okay.
The article talks about the importance of revelations, giving the players just enough information to keep them hooked,
Right.
but also the art of knowing when to hold back, leaving them with more questions than answers.
So it's like a dance.
Exactly.
A delicate balance between satisfying their curiosity and keeping them hungry for more.
Right.
I can do that. Any specific techniques I can use?
One of the most intriguing elements the article explores is the use of dream sequences and visions.
Oh, man. Dream sequences. That's pure Twin Peaks gold.
Right. And think about it.
Yeah.
Dreams are perfect for delivering cryptic clues without giving too much away.
Right.
The article suggests having players experience shared dreams during long rests.
Okay.
These dreams could feature symbolic representations of key NPCs, metaphors for past or future events,
Yes.
even glimpses of the supernatural forces at work.
So I'm literally messing with their sleep now.
In a way.
I love it. But how do I make these dreams actually meaningful?
Yeah.
More than just random weirdness.
The article recommends creating a deck of dream symbol cards. Each card has a symbol, a red door, a white horse, an empty chair.
Okay.
And each symbol has multiple possible interpretations.
Oh.
You can adapt their meaning based on what's happening in the campaign.
Whoa. That's clever. So the same symbol could mean different things at different times.
Exactly. It keeps the players guessing and creates a sense of foreshadowing when they finally understand what the dreams were trying to tell them. Imagine that red door they saw in a dream early on suddenly appears in the real world.
Oh, wow.
But now it leads to something far more terrifying than they initially imagined.
That's so cool. I'm already brainstorming dream symbols.
Good.
But what about player agency?
Yeah.
D&D is all about player choices.
Right.
How do I make sure their choices matter in a mystery this complex?
That's a great question, and the article really emphasizes the importance of player agency.
Yeah.
It encourages you as the DM to embrace unexpected solutions and creative thinking. The key is to ensure that no matter what choices they make, their discoveries still tie into the overall mystery.
So even if they go off the rails, I can bring it back to the core plot.
Exactly. Think of it like a choose-your-own-adventure book,
Okay.
where every path leads to a satisfying but unsettling conclusion.
Okay.
Your job is to guide them through this labyrinth of choices, making their decisions feel meaningful while keeping the mystery alive.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this works.
Right.
But let's talk about magic specifically.
Okay.
In a world where players can cast spells, how do I keep magic from feeling like a cheat code that breaks the mystery?
This is where we really lean into the Twin Peaks vibe.
Okay.
The article suggests making magic work differently within the town's boundaries.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure.
How do I make even a simple light spell feel spooky?
Maybe when they cast light, instead of a steady illumination, they get flickering shadows that dance around them, whispering secrets in a language they can't understand. Or perhaps Speak with Dead connects them to a spirit, other than the one they intended to contact, a spirit with its own agenda, possibly even hostile.
Ooh, okay, now that's creepy. So even using magic becomes a gamble.
Yeah.
It adds this whole other layer of tension to the game.
Exactly.
But what about the big bad? every good mystery needs a villain, right? Who or what is pulling the strings in my Twin Peaks-inspired town?
This is where things get truly disturbing.
Oh boy.
The article stresses that the dark force behind your Twin Peaks shouldn't be your typical villain.
Okay.
No evil overlords or mustache-twirling demons here.
So no Vecna wannabes.
Not exactly.
Right.
Think more conceptual, more disturbing. It could be the collective unconscious of the town twisted and corrupted by some ancient trauma. Or perhaps it's a being of pure entropy drawn to the town's strange energy, like a moth to a flame.
Okay, that's creepy on a whole other level.
Yeah.
But how do I make it work in a D&D context?
You create a coherent but alien logic for how this force operates.
Okay.
Maybe it's bound by strange numerical patterns, or it can only act during certain celestial alignments. It could even have bizarre rules about reflections, thresholds, or names.
So a little bit Lovecraftian, but with a D&D twist.
Exactly.
I can work with that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just copy Twin Peaks wholesale. How do I make this my own?
That's where your creativity as a DM really shines.
Okay.
The article encourages you to go beyond imitation and craft a unique mythology for your setting.
Okay.
Draw inspiration from local folklore, historical events, even your own dreams and nightmares.
But give me some concrete examples.
Sure.
What are some unique twists I could add?
Well, imagine a local cuisine that grants prophetic dreams. Or maybe there's a traditional festival that unknowingly replicates an ancient ritual designed to appease a dark entity. You could even have a unique method of divination, using local materials like reading patterns in the bark of a specific type of tree, or scrying with a bowl of water drawn from a sacred spring.
Ooh, those are great. So it's not just about the big picture. It's about weaving the strange and supernatural into the everyday fabric of the town.
Exactly. You want to create a world where the line between the mundane and the magical is constantly blurred, and where every detail could hold a hidden meaning.
This is incredible. I'm already sketching out maps and scribbling down ideas. But before I get too carried away, I think we need to take a break.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of the deep dive, from creepy locations and layered NPCs to those mind-bending, three-layered mysteries.
We've only just scratched the surface. In the next part, we'll delve even deeper into the art of crafting a Twin Peaks-inspired campaign, exploring those dream sequences in more detail, and talking about how to keep the mystery alive over the long term.
Stay tuned, folks, because things are about to get seriously strange.
Welcome back. I'm eager to dive back into this, because one of the things that really struck me about this article is how it emphasizes long-term planning. You know,
Right.
You can't just sprinkle in a few spooky elements and call it a day.
Right.
It's about building your campaign in phases,
Okay.
each one drawing your players deeper into the mystery.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like a slow burn horror movie where the tension builds gradually, and just when you think you've figured things out, bam, something even weirder happens. But how do I actually structure those phases? Give me the DM cheat sheet.
Well, think of it like this. In the early game, you start with those localized mysteries we talked about.
Okay.
Missing livestock, strange symbols appearing on buildings. Maybe even a whispered rumor of a haunting in the old mill.
Okay.
This phase is all about establishing that unsettling atmosphere and introducing the players to the town's peculiar nature.
Got it. Like dipping their toes into the weirdness,
Yeah.
giving them a taste of what's to come.
Yeah.
But how do we escalate the mystery from there?
That's where the mid-game comes in.
Okay.
This is when those seemingly isolated incidents start to connect,
Okay.
revealing those town conspiracies we discussed earlier.
Okay.
Maybe the players discover a secret society operating in the shadows, or they uncover a family with a dark secret they're desperately trying to protect.
Ooh, juicy. I can already picture my players huddled around the table, piecing together clues, whispering theories, getting way too invested in figuring out who's behind it all.
Right.
But what happens when they start getting close to the truth?
That's when you transition into the late game.
Okay.
This is where they finally start to glimpse the true nature of the dark force at work.
Yeah.
That carefully crafted mythology you've been building. Now it takes center stage.
So by this point, my players are facing down some seriously cosmic horror stuff.
Possibly. They're beginning to understand the rules of this alien logic,
Okay.
the true scope of the threat. But even then, there should still be a sense of mystery. Don't feel obligated to answer every question. Leaving some things unexplained can actually make the story more impactful.
Ooh, that's a good point. It's like the best horror movies, right?
Yeah.
They leave you with those lingering questions, that sense of unease that stays with you long after the credits roll.
Exactly.
This all sounds like a lot to keep track of. Any tips for a DM who might be feeling a little overwhelmed?
Absolutely. The article offers some really practical advice.
Okay.
And one of the key takeaways is the importance of tracking recurring symbols and patterns.
So like taking notes on my own crazy lore.
Well, it's more than just taking notes.
Okay.
It's about creating a web of interconnected details.
Okay.
Maybe there's a specific type of flower that always appears at the scene of a supernatural event. Or a particular phrase that characters utter before something strange happens.
Oh, I see. It's about paying attention to those seemingly insignificant details and giving them weight, turning them into clues.
Exactly. And the beauty of this is that you don't have to plan everything in advance. You can start small and let the patterns emerge organically.
Good.
Maybe you hadn't planned for that flower to be significant, but your players keep noticing it, commenting on it. Now it's a clue, a piece of the larger puzzle.
That's amazing. So I'm not just building a story. I'm creating a world with its own internal logic. A world where even the smallest detail could be a sign of something bigger.
Right.
But how do I sustain that sense of mystery over a long campaign? Well, my players eventually put all the pieces together.
That's where those phased revelations come in.
Okay.
You're constantly teasing new information,
Right, yeah.
but never revealing the full picture all at once.
I like it, like a breadcrumb trail of cosmic horror leading them deeper into the unknown.
Exactly. Maybe in the early game they hear a local legend, a spooky story that seems like mere folklore.
Right?
But then in the mid-game, they discover an artifact that connects to that legend.
Okay.
And finally, in the late game, they realize that the legend wasn't just a story, it was a prophecy.
Oh, wow.
And they're right at the center of it.
Wow, that's seriously cool. It's like each revelation is a piece of a puzzle, but the puzzle itself keeps getting bigger and more complex.
Yeah.
And those dream sequences we talked about, those can play a big role here, right?
Absolutely. Those dream sequences can serve as recurring nightmares,
Okay.
offering glimpses into the mystery, but never giving away the whole picture. Early on, a dream might just be a collection of bizarre images.
No.
But as the campaign progresses, those images start to make sense, revealing connections the players hadn't even considered.
So the dreams become like their own personal Twin Peaks intro. But instead of dancing dwarves and cryptic log ladies, it's those recurring symbols, those unsettling visions that keep them guessing.
Yeah.
But how do I ensure that it doesn't feel repetitive or frustrating for them?
Remember, the key is to vary the content and delivery of the dreams.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a visceral nightmare. Other times it's a prophetic vision filled with symbolism. Maybe they hear a haunting melody that echoes in the real world, or they receive a message from a mysterious figure who claims to know their destiny.
I love it. It's like each dream is a new layer of the onion, but an onion that makes you question your sanity instead of making you cry.
Well put. And speaking of layers, don't forget about those smaller details, those subtle touches that really capture the essence of Twin Peaks.
Oh, I love those little details. Give me some inspiration.
Okay.
What are some things I can do to make my town truly memorable, truly unsettling?
Think about the Double R Diner.
Okay.
There's always a booth that's occupied, but never by the same person. It's a small detail,
Right.
but it adds to that sense of unease, the feeling that something is just a little bit off.
Okay.
Or how about the way all the cats in Twin Peaks disappear during the new moon?
Whoa, that is creepy. It's like the town itself is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen.
Exactly. And then you have those quirky characters like the log lady,
Right.
who always carries a log and seems to have an uncanny connection to the town's supernatural forces. It's those memorable personalities that really bring a setting to life.
Okay, I'm getting so many ideas. So I need to think about those recurring elements, those strange little details that make my town feel unique and a little bit off. But we can't forget about sound design. That was a big part of the show's atmosphere, right?
Absolutely. The eerie music, the distorted dialogue,
Right.
even the sound of the wind rushing through the trees, all of it contributes to that overall feeling of dread and wonder.
Right.
If you're running your campaign online, there are tons of free resources for ambient sounds and sound effects.
And if you're playing in person, you can set the mood with some candles and incense. Maybe even brew a pot of damn good coffee Twin Peaks style. But how do I get my players truly invested in this world and uncovering its secrets?
The article has a brilliant suggestion for that. Connect the mystery to the players' backstories.
Oh, okay.
Maybe one of their characters has a family member who disappeared in the town years ago. Or perhaps they have a recurring dream that features those same strange symbols they keep encountering in the real world.
Ooh, that's genius. It becomes personal. They're not just investigating a mystery. They're uncovering secrets that tie directly to their characters' lives.
Exactly. And that raises the stakes in a really compelling way.
Right.
It's not just about saving the town.
Right.
It's about solving a mystery that has haunted them for years. A mystery that might hold the key to unlocking their own hidden past. I think this is a perfect spot to pause for now, wouldn't you agree?
I couldn't agree more. In the next part of the deep dive, we'll explore some final tips for mastering the art of the Twin Peaks-inspired campaign. Stay tuned, listeners. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into bringing Twin Peaks to your D&D campaign. My brain is buzzing with ideas, but I'm also feeling a little overwhelmed. Is there anything else I should keep in mind as I start building this world of mystery and cosmic horror?
One thing the article really drives home is this: embrace the unknown.
Okay.
In a Twin Peaks-inspired campaign, not everything needs to be neatly explained.
Right.
Leave some questions unanswered.
Okay.
Let those loose ends linger just like the show did. It'll keep your players theorizing long after the game is over.
I see what you mean. Sometimes the most satisfying stories are the ones that leave you wondering. It sparks the imagination, Makes you want to keep digging. Keep searching for those hidden connections. Like at the end of Twin Peaks, we know who killed Laura Palmer. But there are still so many mysteries left unresolved. And that's what makes it so haunting, so brilliant.
Precisely. Think of it as planting seeds of doubt and wonder in your players' minds.
Okay.
Maybe they uncover a cryptic prophecy, but they never fully understand its true meaning. Or perhaps they encounter a strange entity that seems to defy the laws of reality, but its motives remain shrouded in mystery.
Ooh, that's good. It's like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, but instead of leading them to a clear destination, it just takes them deeper into the forest.
Yeah.
Deeper into the unknown.
Exactly. And remember, those unanswered questions can often be more compelling than any neat resolution.
Right.
They're the ones that keep the players talking, debating, and coming back for more.
I love that. It's about creating an experience that stays with them. A story that they'll keep revisiting in their minds long after the campaign is over. But how do I actually do that? How do I create that kind of lasting impact?
Well, one thing you can do is encourage your players to contribute to the mystery.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to incorporate their theories and interpretations into the story.
Right.
Sometimes their ideas will be even more interesting than what you had originally planned.
Oh, totally. My players come up with the wildest theories. Sometimes I've learned to just roll with it and see where their imaginations take us. But sometimes those theories can lead them down some pretty crazy rabbit holes.
Yeah.
How do I keep them on track without stifling their creativity?
That's the beauty of those phased revelations we talked about earlier.
Right.
You can use those revelations to subtly guide them back to the main plot, even if they've gone off on a tangent.
I see what you're saying. So even if they're focused on, say, the mysterious disappearance of the town's pie supply, I can use that to eventually lead them to the larger conspiracy involving the ancient entity and the impending apocalypse.
Exactly. It's all about connecting those seemingly unrelated events, weaving them together into a tapestry of mystery and intrigue. And remember, even those seemingly silly side quests can have a deeper meaning if you tie them back to the overall themes of the campaign.
This is brilliant. I'm starting to feel like I can actually pull this off.
Okay.
But I think we need to wrap things up. Any final words of wisdom before we send our listeners off to craft their own Twin Peaks-inspired campaigns?
Just this. Remember that you're not just running a game, you're creating an experience. So have fun with it. Experiment. Don't be afraid to get weird and embrace the unexpected.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This deep dive has been a revelation, a journey into the heart of mystery and the power of collaborative storytelling. A huge thank you to Paul Bello Finefellow for writing this amazing article and to Lit RPG Reads for sharing it with us.
Indeed. And for you listening out there, as you start crafting your own Twin Peaks-inspired campaigns, keep this in mind. What seemingly ordinary element in your own world could you twist into something mysterious and magical? Perhaps it's a local tradition, a family recipe, or even a recurring dream.
Right.
The possibilities are endless, and the only limit is your imagination.
So go forth and create something strange and wonderful. And so until next time, keep those dice rolling and those mysteries unfolding.